Hey there, fifth graders. Today, I have been tracing the outside edge of some objects that I found around the house because I'm going to put them together to make a little bit of abstract art. Now, let me show you what I've been tracing. This is the top to a container, a place value disc, a candle. This came off the lid of a jar, a roll of tape, a coaster, and the bottom of my marker. What do all these objects have in common? That's right, they're circles. Today, we're going to be exploring the different parts of a circle. Now, let's do our learning target. Repeat after me. I can identify and label the parts of a circle. Great job. Let's head over and explore this virtual geoboard so that we can learn more about the parts of a circle. All right, you guys, welcome to the virtual geoboard. You can see that this is a circle. It has a continuous line that goes around and round. It never stops, but you can also see that there are little dots around our circle. Those are we're going to call points. That is a point. And you see that there is also a point that is in the center of our circle. Now, when we're talking about the parts of a circle, the outside edge of our circle is called the circumference. The circumference. The circumference is like the perimeter of the circle. When we were talking about polygons, we talked about the perimeter being the outside edge. Well, the outside edge of our circle is the circumference. Now, we can use this tool here to create line segments. We can use this tool to create line segments to identify some of the parts on our circle. So let's say I want to click on this point here and create a line segment that ends at this point here. You see how both of the points are on the circumference of my circle? However, they're joined by this line here. That is called a chord. This is called a chord. Now, if I want to create another chord, or the longest chord that I can make in my circle, that goes through the center of my circle, this one is called the diameter. The diameter. And again, it is a chord because you see it has 2 points that are sitting on the circumference of my circle. However, it is going through the center of my circle. The radius starts at the center of our circle and then hits the outside edge of the circle, or the circumference of the circle. One thing you need to note is that if I have a radii here, and I put one going from the center to the outside edge this way, what does that look like to you? Right, it's another diameter. It's another diameter because, again, it's a chord sitting on the circumference of the circle, and it's going straight through the center of the circle. So if I have two radii and I put them together, I can make a diameter. So those are the parts of your circle. One more time, we have a chord. We have the diameter, which is a chord. However, it goes through the center of the circle, and it is the longest one, the longest chord that we can make. And then the radius, which goes from the center of the circle and then sits on the circumference of the circle. And again, the outside edge of our circle is called the circumference. circle is drawn on the floor of the gymnasium. A student stands in the center of the circle and holds one end of a rope. A different student stands on the outside edge of the circle and holds the other end of the rope. What part of a circle does the rope best represent? Okay, let's go over practice question number 1. You had 2 students who had created a circle on the gymnasium floor. They are standing within the circle holding a rope. So here is the circle that they created on the gymnasium floor. Now, here is student 1 standing at the center of the circle, and here is student 2 standing on the circumference of the circle, or the outside edge. Again, they are holding a rope. We want to know what our rope represents. So looking at this picture, we see that the rope with the 2 students holding it has created a line segment. The line segment is sitting at the center of the circle and on the circumference of the circle. Therefore, this represents a radius. Point X is the center of the circle, which best describes line segment VW. Let's go over practice question number 2. You were given a circle and we want to know what line segment VW represents. So in order to just focus on VW, I'm going to not think about ST and I'm not going to think about RX because I want to focus just on VW. Now, I noticed that VW is a line segment. I noticed that it sits on the circumference of the circle. I notice that both points are sitting on the circumference of the circle. I do notice, however, that it's not in the center of the circle. Therefore, VW is a chord. Pause the video here and head on over to the learning path so that you can answer your practice set questions. Let's go over our practice set questions. Now, it asked you to label the parts of a circle. You had to find a chord, the diameter, a radius, the circumference, a line segment, and a point. Now, before I start, your answers might be different from mine, and that's okay, because there are multiple representations of each of these on the circle. So let's start by finding a chord. Here is a chord, but I also notice that this is a chord and this is a chord. Let's find the diameter. Remember, the diameter is a chord and it goes through the center of the circle. So here is my diameter. Let's find a radius. Here's a radius and here's a radius. They both start at the center of the circle and then hit the circumference of the circle. Let's find the circumference. And remember, the circumference is the outside edge. So all of this on the outside edge of our circle is the circumference. Now let's find a line segment. Now this is not our only line segment. All of my chords are made up of line segments. So here's one, here's one, here's one. Again, my radius is a line segment. So all of those are line segments. And finally, let's find a point. Again, this is not my only point. All of my line segments are made of points. So here's a point, here's a point, here's a point. Here's a point, there's a point, there's a point, there's a point, a point. There are multiple points on my circle. Great job learning about circles today. What is your favorite part of the circle? Well, that's awesome. I like them all. You are all ready to continue learning about circles the rest of the week. Have an amazing day. See you next time.